Today I'm coming to you with a particular problem about pepper. The problem is not about the fresh peppers that I ferment and use in my sauces. This is about dried pepper, specifically crushed red pepper. And very simply, this stuff sucks. But I've been working for 6 months on a solution to it. I think I've found it. So join me as I show you my answer to terrible, useless crushed red pepper. Hey folks, this is Phil from Alabama Hot Sauce. That's alabamahotsauce.com on the web. I'm here with you this afternoon, and we're going to talk about the sorry state of readily available crushed red pepper. Crushed red pepper is about the number 4 used spice commodity in North America. Of course, salt and pepper is first, and onion powder and crushed red pepper sort of a tie for third and fourth. But we're going to talk today about what I think is wrong with crushed red pepper. Now, to do that, let's talk a little bit about what this stuff is that you see in your grocery store. First, if you read the ingredients here, it says the ingredients are red pepper flakes. I don't know what red pepper flakes mean. I don't know what kind of pepper they come from. I don't know how long they've been packaged. But I will talk about a few things that, based on common sense, I think you can confirm. First, I believe it makes common sense that there was a long time between the time these peppers were picked, whatever kind they are, and the time they get in this plastic container. So, I think it's common sense to say these things have been crushed for a while. As a matter of fact, I think they list a lifespan of about 2 years. Now, I got to tell you, after you open it, that lifespan is going to dramatically fall. So you have to use a lot of common sense in the use of red pepper. The second thing I'm going to tell you is that the next time you're in your spice aisle at the grocery store, I want you to stand there and smell. There've been no spices opened in that spice aisle, but they certainly aren't supposed to be. But if you stand there, you can smell a mixture of all kinds of spices. And the reason you can smell it is that plastic containers are probably the worst way to store ground spices. The plastic, no matter how much it looks like it's impervious, actually is not impervious to the transfer of gases and odors. That's why you can smell spices in the grocery store shelf. It took a long time to get this here, more than likely, and it's not in what I would consider to be an absolutely hermetically sealed package. But the third thing I want to talk about is one that requires a little bit of discussion, okay? And that is how this stuff tastes and does it have any heat. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to open up a couple of these peppers. And by the way, I've got, from a dollars and cents point of view, what's a very inexpensive, great value container of pepper here. I've also got a pepper that's on the higher end of the cost scale. It's made by Badia, and this is considered to be a premium pepper. So we're going to open both of these and take a look at them. All right. There we go. I've got a couple of ramekins out here, and I'm going to first open up this Badia pepper, and we're going to pour a little bit of it out. There we go. There's the Badia pepper. Then we're going to open up this inexpensive, great value crushed red pepper. And we're going to pour a little bit of that out. The first thing you'll notice about these two peppers is that they look very, very much alike. The Great Bay is slightly redder than the Bahia. It's a little bit more brown. That could be slight differences in the way these two factories dry the pepper. It could be a number of things. But the most important thing is how do they smell, taste, and feel? Now this Great Bay pepper smells just dusty. And the Bahia pepper smells just dusty. So the question becomes, how do they taste? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pinch of this pepper and put it on my tongue. To be honest with you, that has hardly no taste. It has a very, very little bit of heat, but not much. I could tell that whatever pepper this was made from was not a very hot pepper as it was growing, or it's lost a tremendous amount of its pungency since it was processed and dry. Now we're going to try the Bahia pepper. Honestly, that has even less taste and less heat. So let's talk about why that could be. First, it is very possible that these peppers were not very hot to begin with. That's just sort of what I suspect. It is also possible this is not a single variety of pepper. It is probably a mixture of peppers that are dried, that are machine ground, and packaged in these plastic containers. It might very well be likely that from batch to batch, this changes in taste, in heat, in flavor. It may be possible that from year to year it makes those changes. But the bottom line is, it's just not very hot and not very tasty. So, using this in your recipes, I think you're going to notice very, very little heat from it. As a matter of fact, you will see cooks on the internet. If you go to all sorts of cooks, they will say things like, you don't get the heat from the red pepper flakes, you get the taste. That's because they don't have very much heat. I set out about 6 months ago to solve this problem because, to be honest with you, I love to use hot pepper flakes. I just wish they added something, both taste and heat, to the meals I cook. So what I did is I have produced my own pepper flakes. Now let me tell you the things that are different about my pepper flakes and the pepper flakes that I've laid out in these jars. First, this pepper flake is made out of a known pepper with considerable heat. This pepper flake is made out of the Chili de Arbol, which is basically the bird pepper. It came from the southern regions of Mexico. I first tried ordering these from a Mexican food supplier in bulk, already dried. And what I found was that they tasted better, quite a bit better. They had more heat than the store-bought peppers, but they didn't have a lot of character to the flavor. So I ordered fresh peppers, and I smoked them for this crushed red pepper. And when I did that, I got a much better tasting pepper. I did something else that's a little different from what stores do. I'm confident that these two peppers were ground at quite high speed in automated machines, grinding machines that use cutting blades or cutting wheels, by nature produce heat. The high speed of the cutting also pounds out the capsaicin oil that makes this pepper hot. When these peppers are dried, about 90% of the moisture is removed from the pepper. leaving a moisture content in these dried peppers of about 8 or 9 or 10%. But the oil stays. Now, when you grind these at very high speed, what happens is you pound out the oil, it starts to evaporate slightly. It makes the pepper more clumpy, which means they have to either put ingredients in it that prevent clumping, or in the case of both of these that don't have any anti-clumping ingredients, you have to put up with the fact that over time, these peppers start to clump together. In addition to that, peppers, like every other substance, are going to equalize their moisture with the environment around them. So once you open a container of peppers, since these only contain 8 or 9% moisture, and your atmosphere in your home contains 30 or 35% moisture, what's going to happen is that the moisture in your home, every time you open these peppers, is going to transfer into this pepper seeds, because things naturally want to equalize their moisture. So over time, these pepper seeds are going to become more and more moisturized. That's going to cut down on the heat. It's going to cut down on the taste, but most important, it's going to make this stuff stale, very susceptible to mold, and it's going to make it even more clumpy. Let's talk about what I've done different with my Alabama hot sauce Chili de Arbol crushed pepper. First, I brought in fresh peppers from the south of Mexico. I imported them through one of my suppliers. I then smoked these peppers using a coal smoking process with a mixture of mesquite and oak wood, okay? They're not very heavily smoked, but they're smoked enough to give this pepper a little nuance of taste, okay? Now, when it came to crushing, I first tried running it through a pepper crusher, an automated machine, and I found that it produced much too small of flakes to make much difference in recipes. But worst of all, I could smell the oil coming out of it, and I didn't want that to happen. So, I started crushing the peppers with a rolling pin. The rolling pin doesn't produce any heat. I could crush a pound or two of it in 10 minutes. Makes my production of these jars of pepper much slower, but it doesn't use heat to pound out the capsaicin in there. The second thing I did is I tried all kinds of packaging containers. I first ordered plastic shakers just like these, or plastic bottles just like these. When I packaged them, I couldn't get rid of the plastic smell. I just wasn't happy with it. And I decided to do what made the most sense, and that is to package them in glass jars. Another thing this allows is something that these companies cannot do. After packaging these jars, I put them in my vacuum chamber, and I draw a 25 inches of mercury vacuum in these jars. So I remove out all the moisture that's in the jar, I remove out all the oxygen so we don't have any oxidation, and I eliminate the things that will make this pepper stale. So from the time I package these, from the time I dry them and package them, we're talking about a couple of days, about 3 days. I then immediately vacuum them, which means this is going to be a completely sealed, aesthetically packed package until it gets to you and you open it. I got another ramekin out here, and I'm going to open. You heard that little whoosh. I'm going to open some of the Alabama hot sauce crushed red pepper. One of the things you'll notice, my flakes are larger, and they smell great. They are somewhat drier. Now, you also notice on occasion somewhat larger pieces of pepper in there. The flakes are not a consistent size because they were hand ground. But let's go to the real test and let's taste them. Oh, me. Immediately that is hot. These pepper flakes have heat. In addition to that, they smell much better. They have a much better texture in my mouth. Wow, these things have some heat. And they're as fresh as they were when I put them in the jar, and these jars were packaged about 45 days ago. I feel comfortable that 6 months from now, this unopened jar is going to be the same. And this jar allows you to completely seal these peppers. There's no oil, there's no flavor, there's no odor that's transferring through this glass tray. Let me lay these out again. There's the Great Vein. There's the Badia. And there's the Alabama hot sauce ground pepper. Okay? The same principle applies to ground peppers to the crushed pepper. All the same problems occur. It's ground by machine. It's packaged in a plastic container. It probably goes a long time from the time it's ground to the time it's packaged, or the time it's dried to the time it's packaged. So I also did the same thing with ground pepper. I've got Alabama hot sauce, ground Chili de Arbol. Now, it's a little more coarse ground than what you have here, because I think fine ground pepper is nearly impossible to cook with. So this is a little more coarse ground. Now this does have its final grinding step in an automated machine. I first break them by hand to the size of a crushed pepper, and then I blitz these for less than 15 seconds in 2-quart batches and grind them up. The peppers I'm showing you here do not have the labels on, but I'll put some pictures to show you what these peppers look like with the label on. These things have been approved by my process authority. They've been tested. The water activity is proper, and these are ready to go on the market. Folks, I want to thank you for joining me for this little demonstration. I think I have found the secret to take something that just generally sucks, which is store-bought, cheap ground pepper, and turn it into something which really can actually contribute to your cooking success. Once again, I want to thank you for joining me. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel. In addition to that, I'd like it if you would leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and then ring that bell so YouTube will know to notify you each time I produce new content. Once again, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Hey folks, I want to thank you for joining me on this video. If you enjoyed it, take a moment and push the little logo on the screen and subscribe to my channel. In addition to that, I've given you a couple of videos that I think you will enjoy. Punch those and let's see what you like. Once again, thank you.